Prince Harry's highly anticipated interview with British broadcaster ITV is going to air just days after the leaking of his memoir. Joining us from ITV is royal editor Chris Shipp in London. Chris, it feels like we've already heard so much. Can we expect more bombshells to drop from this interview?
It kind of does, doesn't it? We've been talking about Prince Harry and the interviews around the book for a number of days now. But if we still played things out in tape, the cassette would be in the machine right now and someone's about to press play. We've got a 90-minute interview coming up with Harry in the next, 45 minutes or so. It's 8:15 in the evening here. It airs at 9 p.m. But as you say, I mean, we've had little teaser clips. We've also heard from his CBS 60 Minutes interview. We've heard from his Good Morning America interview as well. I mean, look, we haven't heard the full thing from the man himself, and that's what everyone's got their eyes on tonight. So reports are already resurfacing on how the royals have reacted to Harry's memoir, one of them being that Harry's going to be written out of his father's coronation speech. Is there any truth to that? Well, look, we haven't had a coronation in this country since 1953, when the Queen had her coronation, and we know that the King's is coming up in May of this year. We have had zero response from Buckingham Palace, zero response from Kensington Palace as well. Look, I'd expect, my full expectation will be that Prince Harry and Meghan will get an invite from his father, the King. Just as they said before in previous statements when they've come to disagreements, like after the Oprah Winfrey interview, they've always said Harry and Meghan are much loved members of this family. I fully expect them to do exactly the same thing, invite Harry and Meghan. If he chooses to come or not, well, that's down to him. And as you heard him say in a clip released a couple of days ago to our correspondent, Tom Bradby, there's a lot that can happen between now and then. So with everything that has been said, do you think that there is any hope of reconciliation between Harry and the rest of the family? You know, that's the really, really big question now. I mean, Harry said in the preview clips that we've heard that he hopes he can reconcile with his family. He wants his father back. He wants his brother back. I mean, I just can't see how that is. Well, it's certainly not easy. I can't actually see how it's possible, given the amount of very private information that Prince Harry's now put into the very public domain. His argument, of course, is that the royal family have had their say for too many years. They've been briefing the press, and I've never had my say. I think most people will agree, this week in particular, Harry's had his say, and it's now really how the palace responds. My expectation will be that the palace will go back to work next week. We think the King's due out in the middle of the next week. William and Kate are sometime as well, and they'll continue doing the job that they want to do and they will focus on. Well, this is the thing. He says he hopes to have a reconciliation, but he's going about it in a very strange way. What do you think, in his heart of hearts, that he thinks he will achieve by doing these interviews? Is it selling more books? Is it making up with his dad and brother? I mean, it's a very strange way to go about making up with your dad and brother, to articulate some very private fights, or as Harry accuses his brother of attacking him in the kitchen of his home and falling on the dog bowl and breaking his necklace and all the rest of it. I think most people will agree that's a very odd way to go about it if you do want reconciliation. Harry's view is that, you know, he's done Netflix, they've done the Oprah Winfrey interview, they've got the book. This is their way of putting out their story to the world and saying, this is what happened to us. Remember, and I keep saying this is the point of view according to Harry and Meghan. We haven't heard from the other side. You know, is that going to bring the King and William to the phone and to say, "Oh, Harry, let's make up"? I just can't see it myself. I think it's going to be very, very, very difficult for them to do that now. But, you know, they're family. Families do have arguments. You might say some families have come back from much worse than this. I can't actually think of any examples of that, but I suppose it is. Prince Harry is expected to lob more criticism on the royal family this morning in a pair of TV interviews promoting his highly anticipated new memoir, Spare. We have correspondents following the unfolding drama on both sides of the Atlantic. First to Europe, correspondent Brett McLeod. Brett, good morning. His British sit-down is going to air very shortly, isn't it?
Yes, it starts in the next hour or so. And so last we can see, are there any new revelations? Now that the book is out effectively in the public domain because it was prematurely put on sale in Spain last week, we've already heard some extraordinary bombshells, probably the main one being his claim that his brother assaulted him. So we'll see what left there is to say. But right at the heart of the book, it does seem there is this mixture of rage, guilt and sorrow to do with his mother's death and the circumstances after that. And he himself says that he's not sparing himself, no pun intended on the title, but not sparing himself when it came to feeling some guilt about how the young boys handled that time. The inevitable question, once these final interviews have gone to air, is will the palace respond? You could almost put money on the fact that they won't, at least not immediately, because that's been their tactic all the way through. Brooke?
Thanks, Brett.
Now to Jonathan Kersley in Los Angeles. Jono, good morning. The Talk Fest will continue in the US.
It will go on and on and on, won't it? In a few hours from now, the interview with CBS's 60 Minutes will be broadcast here in the United States. It will be prime time on the East Coast, and a couple of hours after the British interview with ITV goes to air. Interestingly, though, with the interview that has been done with Anderson Cooper, there has been little teased or promoted about this interview. Just the one little snippet in which Harry reflects on the British media again, in which he refers to them as being bigoted over their reporting of his wife Meghan. So a couple of things with this. This is obviously now the country where Prince Harry and Meghan call home. This is the state here in California where they live. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not he changes what he says or has anything different to what he says in the UK interviews to cater for an American audience. And there will be more American interviews, another one tomorrow and then a late night TV interview on Tuesday as that book is finally released. So has he got much more to say? Well, we'll find out soon.
Can't wait. Jono, thank you. In just over an hour, his first TV interview promoting his bombshell memoir will air in the UK. And although we're unlikely to hear from the royal family, no doubt they'll be watching very closely. Joining me now is Independent MP Zali Steggall and 4BC Scott Emerson. Good morning to both of you. Thanks so much for being with us. January, holidays, sort of not. But Zali, let's start with you. Has the Duke gone too far with all of this?
Oh, I feel like he's airing the family dirty laundry in public. For someone who wanted to get on with his life and go and find meaning outside the family, he's spending a lot of time talking about it. So yeah. I would say go and use your profile for charities, for not-for-profits, not-for-profit, do good and move on. I think it does raise a lot of questions for us. So, you know, it's going to bring on the Republican debate in Australia, I think.
Does part of you feel sorry for him?
Oh, not really. Look, again, you know, I don't doubt that it would be difficult in that family. Yeah. Incredibly difficult being under the spotlight all the time. And I think the treatment of his wife, Meghan, has been, at times, incredibly racial. But at the same time, I think get on with it. Go and build your new life and stop talking about it.
Indeed. Scott, what do you think? Especially after the royal family's publicly responded to any of the claims made. Well, they haven't at this stage. Should they?
Oh, spare me, Alex. This has just been... I'm sick and tired of Harry, to be honest. Yeah. And what do the royal family do? The dignified silence is a response at this stage. Well, King Charles just can't be silent for the rest of his time on the throne, or Prince William. Eventually, they're going to have to respond. But, God, as Carly said, the dirty laundry is being aired well and truly. Mm. But this is a disaster for the royal family. I don't know if it's necessarily going to bring on some sort of movement towards the Republic movement here in Australia, but it's not good news and good publicity for the monarchy at all.
Do you think he should go to the coronation, his father's coronation in May?
Oh, imagine the scenes there. No one's going to have the cameras on King Charles. No. They're going to be on the Ginger and the Whinger, looking to see what they do.
G'day Today Show viewers. Thanks for watching YouTube. Our YouTube channel is fantastic. Subscribe now for brand new videos every day and exclusive bonus clips. Come on, you know you want to.